Give thanks and praise, dissidents. I'm going to record an introduction as I have so many things that I have to remember in my free flow format of sharing the slick, distant, shared artistic expression. And it slipped my mind, as it often does, to kindly invite all of my viewership to check out theslickdissident.com. It is officially available for everybody to reciprocate their appreciation for the weaves that I do on the show. I have manifested some weaves on my website for you to wear. And so please check it out at slickdissident.com. I've got t-shirts for the ladies. I have t-shirts for the fellas. And I got little onesies for the babies. I've even got some Zippos that I'm working on the link. It's acting a little tricky, but we're gonna get those Zippos out there. I want to, spark brush fires in the minds of men. And also, I have developed the back of a Rider-Waite tarot deck. I've artistically placed a great many of my ciphers on offer. You will probably recognize the Territory cipher. You'll also recognize the Diction of Aries cipher is available for people to wear and reciprocate their appreciation. I am a little self-conscious just telling people, PayPal, Cash App down below, which is always welcome also. I totally appreciate that. But if you care to have some of my artistic work in your life to support me, then I will feel greatly appreciated. And it keeps the fire burning in the forge of the slick, distant, artistic laboratory. That's what's up. All right. Big love and respect, everybody. Thanks and praise, all you fantastic dissidents. It's going to be a long weave today. We got quite a bit to throw down on. Quite a few fascinating events are happening as the race circulates around the heavens. Quick reminder, I mention it quite frequently, that in the Cratylus, Socrates is reminding the youth of the old definitions of words, one of which is the word theo. And every time you say the, you are conveying belief, theo. He instructs the two youths. He asks them first, as always, opening with the question, the Socratic method. What does the word theo mean in your recollection? And the two acolytes, they posit that it means God. And then they posit that it means planet. And he says, yes, but let us not forget that it also means wanderer, and it also, in the old days, it means the racer. And that is because they are clearly on a circuit of some sort, on an arche. They are racing around the tracks. And eventually, all of these racers go back on their path. I have intuited from this truth that the archons of our day, the governing symbols, are embodying archetypal energies. And in fact, we'll notice that they have in their career path, as many of them are failing upward, they will have a promise that they rise to power, riding on this promise. And inevitably, when they get to power, they go back on their word. We've come to anticipate this. We expect it. We would be surprised if they did otherwise at this point. So, as we are nearing the finish line of the race, racial tensions start to increase. There is a percolation, a dialing up of the intensity. And if you watched on my most, a couple videos back, I discovered that on Remember, the 5th of November, there will be a conflagration in the heavens in the south toward meteor showers. And that marcation, the south toward meteor showers, is highly significant even in Hindu mythology. Greg Carlwood had a character on recently who was talking about specifically the south toward meteor showers, as it is right in the, if you go on Stellarium, it is incredibly proximal to the spring equinox crossing point. When the spring equinox happens, there is the south toward meteor showers incredibly nearby. They will be articulated. They've been articulated since September. They run for an incredibly long time. PK, big up, my man, big up. PK and I did a live stream. Go check on the live tab, and you'll see PK and I rapping and weaving on some Stellarium. And it was kind of confounding us a bit to see that the south toward meteor showers they kind of turn on and off for a prolonged time period, here in the fall specifically. And that is because they are actually active, I believe, all the way from somewhere in September, all the way through to November and beyond the 5th. But the 5th of November is the pinnacle, is the peak of their expression. So if you're in Stellarium, you'll notice, if you just click through the calendar, you'll see the south toward meteor showers fade in and fade out. It actually kind of moves a little and fades in and fades out in its neighborhood. So that truth is becoming increasingly significant in my understanding of the cosmo-mythic systems. Also, in that Hindu myth, the south toward meteor showers is associated with a hero rising up to empower the surface dwellers in their struggles against those who come from below, the subterranean energies. And so, and that hero is riding on a white horse. So, very strong Pegasus correspondence. Pegasus has to be white, has to be a white horse, and that is because it is taking up almost all of the. Here, let me get my pointer stick, because it's taking up almost all of the winter months. The very first earliest star of Pegasus is placed essentially between Capricorn and Aquarius, and it is very long. It rises for its length is the duration of the winter, the coldest months of the year. And so that struggle of white versus earthly subterranean elements is a seasonal expression of the snow overcoming the earth, and then those earthly elements rising up as the snow melts away. And that is a time of year when a lot of people would consider themselves most vulnerable, and a need for, in fact, moving from the hunting season, where you're actually very much carnivore dependent into agriculture when finally there's food coming back on the plants again. So something that I'm always reminding people of is that the top of the zodiac over here, get my stick, the top of the zodiac, these are the time of year of abundance where you can actually count on plant material to eat. But once we go into the underworld where the night is gaining more dominion over the heavenly stage, it is in the fall and the winter is when we actually start to hunt. And so this aspect of monsters, this aspect of desperation, this aspect of needing to race and fight off your whatever, your fellow ideologies, is more intensified in the winter. And that is why I am just so fascinated to learn about the reason why elections always have to happen on the first week of November. It is because we're coming out of the Halloween, the Samhain, the day All Saints Day, La Santa Muerta, the day of Dios los Muertos, the Day of the Dead. And so, if you read about why are the elections set on the first week of November, and it does have fluctuation. It can move here and there just a little bit, depending on what day of the week is in relationship to All Saints Day, November 1st. And so it's always the first Tuesday of every November, so that All Saints Day they cannot have elections on All Saints Day. And this fascinates me psychologically. And consider that this is epigenetically repeated. This is how many generations have expressed this time of desperation. Consider that the streets are filled with monsters. The veil is the thinnest. The skyline is literally skeletal. The fall has blown all the leaves off the trees. The symbol for the fall is often a sword because of the wind. Also, your tongue is a sword, opening doors, creating words. But also, the skyline has gone skeletal. It is so profound because the leaves are off the trees, and all those trees are reminders of death. They are memento mori. The trees are memento mori. And so the reminder of death is fresh into our eyes as the colors of the colors of the leaves have gone through their cycle, yellow to orange to red, and then dead. Yellow, orange, red, dead. And now there is a need for a hero or a savior or somebody to ensure, to give us comfort as the biting winds of change are heavy in the fall. Then all these demons go running through the streets, all these kids wearing masks, all these commemorations of our ancestors are expressed in really dramatic ways. It's the most dramatic holiday. Halloween is total drama because the mask is the symbol of drama. Melpomene, Thalia. These are the symbols of the tragedian and the comedian. And this past leap year, over the past 4 years, elections are always on a leap year. Olympics are always on a leap year. Olympics is an anagram for symbolic. And so the Halloween celebrations on leap years are a votive offering. And so the streets have been full of monsters. The kids were wearing masks. But these last 4 years, they put masks on the children all year long. The potency of this race is supercharged. It is supercharged. mostly because 225 is a very sacred number to the Pythagoreans, as they worship Venus and her 225-day orbit. You could say 224.7 if you wanted to, but it's basically 225 is her magical number. So this year, the spell casting is at a premium. So after All Saints' Day, if you read about why the election is set on the day that it is, right after All Saints' Day, or Deus los Muertos, Halloween, Samhain, all those things, they would then give time for the agricultural communities who live far away from the city to actually travel after observing the Day of Death. Now they are sent forward to travel into the city to cast their vote. And they are giving a votive offering, and they are begging for a hero to come and redeem us and make sure we're going to get through the hard times ahead. Well, that is so appropriate because this is where the snow is going to kick in. This is where you hope you're going to have enough food to eat. This is where you have to really lean into your carnivorous aspects. It's so psychologically profound. And they call it the race. They call it a race all the time. And so racial issues and hoping that your vote is more powerful than your fellow man's vote is utterly, it's ridiculous. And it's becoming more obvious now. It's becoming more obvious as we start to see how social engineers manufacture trauma ritual. So also, once you have gone into the city to cast your vote, you return home and all of the trappings of Halloween are removed. And now it's time to move into something that is a communion, and that is Thanksgiving. It's time to set the stage for Thanksgiving. And so it is fascinating that there were monsters in the street, and then you go and you vote. And when you come home, now everything's going to be fine. Whew, we did our service to our country. Oh man, yeah, let's give thanks. Where's the pumpkin pie? Even the jack-o'-lanterns. Even the jack-o'-lanterns are it's profound. It's so profound. The magics that we do for fun. We do it for fun. We take it for granted now. But the subconscious is working. It doesn't have that discernment. It doesn't have that discernment. It takes in these patterns over and over and over. And these patterns are harmonizing to the circadian rhythm. That, again, I'm always talking about the suprachiasmatic nucleus of your brain that is very sensitive to the light cycles, all of the light cycles. So I just wanted to kind of put Deus los Muertos in the All Saints Day, Samhain and Halloween, and the skeletons on the horizon, and the need to go and ask for a hero. I just wanted to put that into context. As people get crazy enough, even not thinking of it in that context, people go off the wall, not even thinking about what the race is all about. So I wanted to share some of the weaves on the significance of November 5th and the south toward meteor showers that peak on that day every year. Also, I want to give thanks and praise in commemoration of James Earl Jones, who passed away just yesterday on 9/9. 9/9 is a fascinating date, as I do believe Dante's Inferno has 99 cantos, and James Earl Jones was an awesome actor in a million awesome films. Give thanks and praise. My favorite is always going to be Darth Vader. It's always going to be Darth Vader. That immortal voice of Darth Ventilator. Interesting fact that may slip through the radar. I know a lot of people are going to be talking about this topic. James Earl Jones was not in that costume. He never wore that suit. He was merely the voice. He was the Vaka of Darth Ventilator. In fact, there was a whole other actor who played the role of Darth Vader all the way through until the film was released. And when the film was released, he went to the film expecting to hear his own voice. And they did not tell him, guess what, sucker? You were replaced. You were replaced by James Earl Jones, who has the best voice. He's got the best voice. What's fascinating about James Earl Jones is he was traumatized harsh by living with his grandparents. He had a very traumatic life, and he actually spent his first year in school. He was mute, and it was one of his teachers that coaxed him through poetry to bring his voice forward. It took him almost a year to actually start to speak. So his voice is deeply. It has the history of overcoming trauma, and I find that so absolutely fascinating. As also Joe Biden had a stutter when he was a kid. James Earl Jones had a stutter. Even when he did start to speak, he stuttered a lot. And also we have RFK. RFK's got the but then I believe there are a great many other characters who have overcome their vocal trauma, their vocal hurdle, and then achieved greatness because of that overcoming. So I just want to honor that for what it's worth, but also I want to remind everybody that we were programmed to react, to emotionally attach to the Darth ventilator. It's really something else. It really is something else. As well, the fact that the actual actor who played Darth Vader was replaced by James Earl Jones. I believe this is touching on an issue that we're not going to be able to talk about. There's an issue that eventually my video would get taken down if I were to mention Placement Ray Erie. But I just want to kind of weave on Placement Ray Erie because that's what happened when James Earl Jones stole the voice from the actual actor who was playing Darth Vader. And let's also not forget that his famous move is the choke, the force choke. Right? It's pretty silly. It's pretty silly. Now, James Earl Jones. I hope I said that right. Because I'm also going to talk about James Earl Ray. I hope I didn't slip earlier. I might have slipped earlier. Said James Earl Ray. James Earl Ray was convicted for the shooting of Martin Luther King. And some of the dates around James Earl Ray and the numbers of his years of conviction are really fascinating. The shooting of Martin Luther King happened in Memphis, Tennessee on April 4th in 1968. And Ray fled to London, England. That is really fascinating to me because on 8-9, there was a shooter on the loose. There was a manhunt in London, Kentucky, just outside of Richmond. Richmond, north of Richmond. Oliver, what's his name? Oliver something. Was singing that song about the rich man north of Richmond. And now, just on September 8th, we had Caput Garrett Lupinum, Let Him Wear the Wolf's Head. It's an all-papal bull decreeing that there's an outlaw on the loose. And if you see him, you need to shoot him on sight. Just like in the wintertime, if you see a wolf coming around your herd, you would want to kill this alpha predator who's roaming around on the perimeters, just out of sight, lurking in the subconscious. Well, sure enough, this Joseph Couch was the manhunt that took place on 8-9, and all night long we were listening to the details of uh, this police chase. And I was telling the fellas, they're not going to find him. They're not going to find him. Caput Garrett Lupinum. The all papal of outlawry is in full effect. They're never going to find this guy. Apparently, he was up on a ridge taking pop shots on cars. Yeah. And I knew they weren't going to find him because he needs to be running around in the subconscious. So, James Earl Ray retreated to London after the shooting. And sure enough, they snatched him up. He was captured in the United Kingdom. He was convicted in 1969, bro. After entering a guilty plea and foregoing a jury trial and the possibility of a death sentence. And he was sentenced to 99 years. 9-9. James Earl Jones dies at the age of 93. A lot of folks don't know this. What's up with the 93? Why is the thelemic order all about 93, bro? 93, bro, when they meet up? Because 93 plus 93 equals 186. 18.6 is the lunar standstill cycle. They are hailing to the monotonic system of the lunar standstills. So a fascinating thing concerning E-placement ray Erythae is that in 1993, Lloyd Jowers, the owner of a restaurant, publicly began claiming that he had been part of the conspiracy to assassinate King and that Ray had been scapegoated. E-placement ray Erythae. Lloyd Jowers is an ugly mofo. He is ugly. I'm going to read some of the details from 1993 when somebody came forward to E-placement ray Erythae on James Earl Ray. In 93, he appeared at ABC News program on primetime and claimed to be a part of the alleged conspiracy involving the mafia and the U.S. government to kill King. According to Jowers, the alleged assassin, James Earl Ray, was a scapegoat and was not the only person responsible for assassinating King. Jowers named a number of other people in the alleged assassins, including a black man who was in the area. Why's it got to be a black man? You don't even say his name. Who's in the area, and a man named Raul, who was named by Ray to have been involved, and someone he could not identify before finally settling the story that he hired Memphis Police Lieutenant Earl Clark to fire the fatal shot. So, I wanted to correspond these facts, partially because we're in the presidential race, but also because of this replacement that somewhere way down the line in 1993, very magical number, right? Somebody else comes forward and we find out that we had the wrong gunman all along. Just like the actor for Darth Vader thought that he was going to be getting all the laurels for his performance, and then James Earl Jones switches out and actually gets all the glory for the voice acting. Now, the fascinating thing, I'm gonna leave that. Oh, but I guess I should say, Star Wars came out during Ronald Reagan, and Reagan wanted everybody to believe that we're going to make laser beams and have space wars. So this aspect of the ray gun and the laser beam and the Death Star and that satellites are going to shoot laser beams from the sky. Well, guess what? On 9-9, a 12-year-old boy invented the laser of Archimedes. Probably in his garage, a 12-year-old discovered the laser beam of Archimedes on the exact same day that James Earl Jones steps off the world stage. Peace out, Darth Ventilator. Check you later. Archimedes' laser beam is depicted in the most foolish of ways from ancient paintings. It's absolutely, completely misconstrued. However, Archimedes and the Antikythera mechanism were central to the most recent Indiana Jones Dial of Destiny film, where the answer to the entire riddle was his young assistant memorizing the 9 muses in a particular order so that they could solve the riddle of the Dial of Destiny. And then at the end of the film, they brought the Antikythera mechanism and handed it over to Archimedes during the Battle of Sicily, the invasion of Sicily, where Rome killed Archimedes, and he had his last words, "Do not disturb my circle, Roman," before he was slaughtered. A fascinating truth is that there is a crater on the moon. It is one of the most prominent craters. You probably are thinking about it as soon as you consider what craters are on the moon. It's probably one of the 2 or 3 that are the largest, and it is named Archimedes Crater. And sure enough, the probes that they sent to the moon have landed just outside of the circle of the Archimedes crater. Do not disturb my circle, Roman. So to discover that that even a 12-year-old can invent the Archimedean laser, which, again, keep in mind, folks, I do not believe these things, but I happen to know that there is a slow rollout of revelation at hand. And the implications of these facts as they line up, they paint a most fascinating story for the subconscious, in which case it doesn't matter whether we believe it or not. It is being implied between the lines. There is a great amount of psychic defense that is somewhere between knowing and believing. So I have always had the impression, the suspicion in my subconscious that Archimedes did develop a laser beam, and that he may have altered the distance between the moon and the earth, and in fact that the effects of such a thing would be grounds for a great battle in Sicily. Sicily is such a centerpiece of the global chessboard. It always has been. I believe that Sicily is where the real 3 wise men, Maimonides, Averroes, and Aristotle. I think that they are, if you study Sicily, it has 3 peninsulas. It has the 3 legs of the flag around the head of Medusa. And I believe that also this is where the handing of the torch of power in the Mediterranean has been paramount right there in Sicily. And so, yeah, I think the 3 wise men of Maimonides, Averroes, and Aristotle, they all are drawing from the grand think tank that is Sicily. You fell for one of the classic blunders. Yeah. All right. So I'm going to actually take a break. I'm going to pause because I want to shift gears. Now let me finish with James Earl Jones. Let me finish with James Earl Jones, and then I'll take a break and come back. So Darth Vader is absolutely, he's Anakin Skywalker. And Anakin Skywalker is A-Nietzschean Skywalker. He is the tightrope walker of the character in Nietzsche's writing. And this actually takes place in his defining moment when Anakin is going through a fall on that volcanic planet. It's probably called Vulcan or something. When he's fighting his master, Obi young Kenobi, and they leap out onto the tightrope, onto this incredibly narrow catwalk, and they're sword fighting their way into a climactic scene where Obi-Wan cuts the legs off of Anakin. So, the tightrope walker is a symbol of Friedrich Nietzsche. A-Nietzschean Sky Walrus, it has stared into the abyss too long, and he is going through a fascinating fall. And in the moment when Obi-Wan slices the legs off of A-Nietzschean Sky Walrus, this is hailing to ancient tablets of Kronos cutting the legs off of Mercury. That's an alchemical tablet. It's it's an ancient image. It's depicted many times where Kronos has his sickle and he's literally cutting Mercury off at the knees. And I think that has a lot to do with alchemical processes that are used for the transmutation of lead into gold. But I just want to mention that Anakin falls on the shores of the lava stream where his legs are catching on fire, and he's, I hate you! You were the chosen one! You were supposed to bring balance, not fall into darkness! I loved you! Yeah, I've seen it a couple times. And ancient Skywalker is catching on fire, flopping around next to the river of fire. Nietzsche is the walrus. Friedrich Nietzsche is the great walrus. That's his whole motif with that big-ass mustache, that big Bulgarian mustache. He's the walrus, and he was hailed as such by the Beatles. And so, A-Nietzschean Skywalker, flopping around on the shores, in his defining moment, is the walrus. So, I just wanted to put into context how James Earl Jones, Darth Vader, is highly correspondent to Friedrich Nietzsche. And look at how Vader, how he's got his little face plate is totally a gigantic Bulgarian mustache. And it even has tiny little antlers. Could even be construed as Ganesh, as the whole film is about his genetics. Yeah, the lineage of Skywalker goes all the way back to Friedrich Nietzsche, the walrus, the tightrope walker extraordinaire. So I just wanted to put some of these things into correspondence, and I know it's vast, far, and probably too much to ask, but I want to put it on the record so when I build out on these logismoi, they don't seem to be coming out of nowhere. They're not birthed of the abyss of nihilism. They are firmly implanted into our subconscious and reinforced time and time again. So with that, I want to close off mentioning that Uranus began its retrograde on September 1st. It commenced its retrograde at the beginning, or at the peak date of the Aurigid meteor showers. September 1st, where's my stick? September 1st, where is it? Right up here, is when the Aurigid meteor showers commenced. Also, September 1st is when Uranus began its disappearing act, its reversal of its own path. The reversal is not full immediately. It doesn't just stop and go the other way. September 1st is the beginning of a slow shadow where it eventually will move backwards, and its full reversal was on September 9th. The day that James Earl Jones goes into oblivion, into the abyss, is the same day that Uranus has fully articulated it's retrograde. Its retrograde will be 151 days, which is the 36th prime. It goes retrograde September 1st all the way till January 30th. It's 151 days, and that is the 36th prime. And Uranus is totally just a mathematical anomaly. That planet might not even really be there. It might just be an egregoric construct of math claims. Really, that might be all that it is. But the symbol for Uranus is the exact shape of the starship Enterprise. It was discovered by math before they ever laid eyes on it. And its entire mythological history is that of, it is a sky daddy, but it is a dark sky daddy. It's the primordial sky where there was no vision. Uranus is number 6 on my Enneagram, and it has much to do with the Lestrygonians. They lived in a place where they could not see for most of the year. So there's a blindness to the entire nature of Uranus. Yeah, I could go on and on. The math that they used to discover Uranus has both a 369 in its sidereal, I don't know, some category of its expression has a 369 right there in it. And then also the other parameters around its behavior mathematically articulate the 142,859, 142,859. It's all imbued with the nature of the Enneagram. The math that they tell us proves that it exists at all. So Uranus has gone dark. It's gone against its own word on the exact night that they have a Caput Garrett Lupinum just outside of London, Kentucky. Kentucky is Cayendo Aki. It is ground zero for my territories map, Cayendo Aki, Kentucky. And a lot of people are going to say, yeah, that renegade outlaw, Joseph Couch, he's probably hiding out in the tunnels, which is also to say, even if it is true, it also is saying that he's gone into your subconscious. And so the idea of a rogue gunman, just like James Earl Jones or James Earl Ray, is hiding out in the underworld of our mind, right in time for these planetary articulations. So yeah, I'm going to call it there, and then I'm going to come back. You know what? I'm just going to close this video off. I got plenty of editing to do, and on my next video, I'm going to bring forward the Navaratri for the fall of 2024. All right, y'all. And we're going to talk some eclipse, too. Big love and respect. Everybody get your stellarium on. Get your stellarium on. That stuff is fun. Everybody needs their own millenniagram falcon. That's the way forward. That's the way forward. All right. Big love and respect. Give thanks and praise.